This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome to Off the Break Podcast. Our pre-podcast chatter was surrounded by around Luke Evans and a Dracula movie. But today is actually all about Frozen Friday.
Woo!
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for today.
No, I'm kind of excited for the movie too.
Frozen
As
Friday.
you should be.
That's how I've been referring
You're
to this
extra
day.
excited because you got to take your boys to it, though.
I am so excited. So I was just telling the guys before the podcast and the Dracula talk, which we'll get to later, that that my sons are very excited. We make big deals about going to the movie and try to make them like
Good habit.
big events and stuff. And so we're going to pick them up from school today early because it's early release on Fridays. We're going to pick them up from school. We're going to go have big boy drinks, chocolate milks at the restaurant, and then we're going to go to the movie.
Just going to the restaurant for chocolate milk?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Maybe an after
It's
maybe
really high class chocolate
Is
milk.
it like,
I don't think
I'm
you
imagining
understand.
like the Back to the Future diner.
yeah.
It's like, give me a milk. Chocolate.
Well, mom and dad are going to have some other drinks.
Some stronger chocolate milk?
Yeah, some stronger
Nice.
chocolate milk.
With a hint of something.
Grown-up
Yeah.
milk.
Grown-up milks.
Well, that also that sounds a little gross.
But because we're making this such an event, mom was really, really excited for it. My sons voluntarily were like, we want to dress nice. So they wore sweaters today and they look like little gentlemen and we're all going to go to the movie. It's going to be so fun.
The movie is definitely a classy place you got to dress up and go to.
Well, and
When your dress shoes will stick to the...
I was just
big
going to
boy
say,
drink.
my shoes got stuck to the floor. So make
No,
sure
that's
their
awesome,
sweaters don't get ruined.
When did they see the first one?
we rented it at some point, like we bought it for the car ride. Because we have a
Oh,
DVD
yeah.
player in the car. And so when we travel, we have a bunch of movies. I think that's predominantly where we've seen the other one.
Okay. But they're familiar with it and they like it and they're excited.
So familiar. I've been listening to the soundtrack this morning to get everybody pumped up.
As you should.
No.
my
All the music's catchy.
4-year-old will hear like "Let It Go" and he's like, "Elsa's song, Elsa."
That just doesn't work for me.
And
I'll
then
blast John
Meanwhile,
Williams.
I'm like, the ice song from like the beginning.
I'll blast John Williams soundtracks before like a new Star Wars movie, but that's the only thing.
you're missing out.
No, I'm really not.
I was low-key listening to Frozen 2 music during work this morning, so I get it.
Nice. It's because it's Frozen Friday.
Frozen Friday.
I don't know. I guess I've just been too traumatized over my life. I can't
thought you were gonna
stand Disney music.
I thought you were going to say
divorced
traumatized
from the movie.
to Frozen.
No, Disney songs
They're
outside
good.
of the movie.
They're good in the moment, but not...
They're not. And then everybody starts singing along because
Yeah.
it's funny and
'Cause
it's
it's
like,
fun.
oh. Maybe I think I just like.
Eric, oh God,
I think I just hate
fun
people.
is the worst.
I hate feeling other people. I hate knowing other people are happy when they're doing that. I'm like, oh, I really probably should be joining in, but I can't stand it.
I hate knowing that other people are enjoying.
Well, I just
this.
sit there. I'm like, what? Is this what you like? Like when you walk to
Right.
class, you put in your head
No,
earbuds
I
and
was-
listen to this.
I
Eric,
was
it's
firmly in your
empty-
camp before kids. After kids, Mama needs to shine because
It's-
they suck the
I
life
would,
out of you.
I would
so.
sing and dance around the house with them if they were good songs.
They are fun songs.
They're fun and
for little
silly, but they're
kids.
not like good.
But I don't care. They're for the kids.
Kids can
I'm not-
listen to good music.
They are fun for kids.
Yes,
and
they are.
and-
I can't deny that.
yeah. I
And
only
I'm not a
listen
kid,
to it
so they're not fun for me.
in this context. I'm not like in my office being like, "Oh, my Monday's so tough. Let it go. Let it go."
Now you will.
No, whatever people want to listen to is fine. I just hate the specific situation where people like somebody starts like singing a Disney song in an intentionally silly, dumb voice, and then everyone else is like, "Oh!" and then they like join in and they're all singing it. I'm like, oh, this is awful.
You should not have been in my house
I
this
hate
morning.
this.
We were seeing the Olaf's on.
Oh, from the
Yeah.
animated short.
What's-
God, that's
Yeah,
the
that's like a deep
worst
cut.
one.
No,
It's not a deep cut. It's a sad cut.
what
I
frozen
don't
water
like
does
that
in
short.
summer.
It almost ruined my experience watching Coco because it took 20 minutes.
22.
That's ridiculous. It was frustrating.
It was bad. And then they pulled it.
I enjoyed
Meanwhile, Cody's like, I had fun with my boys.
Yeah.
But my cherished memories.
Meanwhile, we're just crapping on her.
Poo-pooing on 'em. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
You're allowed to love your memories as much as you want.
I have so much enthusiasm, and after this podcast, it's Frozen, baby. Just as
That's
loud as my
totally
speakers will
fine.
go.
That's totally fair. That's
And
awesome.
then my horrible singing, I'll be like, Eric, let it go. Let it go.
Man, there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of people upset in the office.
Let It Go never bother me as much as like
It never bothered you anyway.
the other side. Look at that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, thanks.
But like silly songs like that stupid Moana one you keep singing.
Shiny.
Yeah, that song's stupid. I hate
Not
it.
a stupid
word-
song.
That song
the
is
worst
so
song
dumb.
in there. in that
And
movie.
another one, the stupid. I hate the "You're Welcome" song. I hate it. I can't stand it.
Oh,
Everybody likes it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like,
because Dwayne Johnson's singing.
what emotion are you feeling when you listen to that song?
Silly.
I don't want.
Is
I
that
don't
an
like
emotion?
silly songs. Silly songs work in like children's compilation nursery rhyme mixtapes.
Mixtapes.
That's exactly where I'm at with my life. So
So it's
it works
fitting.
for me right now.
Yeah.
I used to fall asleep to songs like that when I was like 4. I don't want to keep listening to it.
Some would say you're more of an intellectual than others.
Or heartless. I'm still going with that.
I like intellectual. You're a smart guy.
There's a void. There's a black void there where a Frozen song should be.
I don't have problems with it. I have problems with people singing along and
It's not the
listening
songs
to it outside of the
themselves.
movie.
It's not the songs themselves.
When I'm
it's
watching
just
the movie,
people.
I know it's a musical. When the songs come on,
Yeah.
they're telling the story, they're pushing it forward, telling me stuff about the characters. But when you're not watching the movie, it's like these melodies and these melody. Ugh. Give me anything else.
Well, Kyle went and saw the early show Frozen, not him and just a bunch of little girls. So, how was it?
A little weird.
That's not what happened. There was a lot more adults in the later screenings than the earlier ones.
How was it? Frozen 2.
It's
Darker,
good.
more quest-like.
Yeah, it's basically what we got out of the trailer for the little teases anyway. It's very much more of a quest type movie. There's a lot more darker themes to this movie. You explore the history of what's the city that they're living in, Arendale's history. It's not quite what the first Frozen was. There's like similar beats, but it is more quest like on a bigger scale type of movie. And it's just delightful. There's still plenty of magical moments.
And beautiful songs to sing with my children.
Yes, there will be. I don't think anything will be as big as Let It Go was, but maybe that's a great thing for the parents.
I don't know, besides Skyfall, if any other movie song has been as big as Let It Go. Like
I imagine so.
Yeah.
a movie song that transcended the movie.
In
that
the
you
recent
think is-
recent history, I think Let It Go might be the biggest one.
Yeah.
In
And then
recent history,
Skyfall.
sure. Yeah.
Skyfall's pretty big.
What was that Cup song from Pitch Perfect?
I have still never seen any of the Pitch Perfects.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's probably not this big though.
Yeah.
But yeah, luckily for parents, like the music is still catching up and it's still very good. Like you guys were saying, it helps tell the story. But it just won't be as anything as big as Let It Go probably, which isn't a diss or nothing. You still get a lot more of the sisterly love that was shown between Elsa and Anna, which is great. A lot more of Elsa's magic is like amazing to watch. All the visuals and animation are probably as better, if not more so, than the first one did. I think it's just a matter of whether you'll be really enjoying this story as much as the first. Because I think there's probably some certain plot points that won't be as catching for some people as like in the first movie. But again, it's still a very strong movie. I think people will probably still prefer the first one over the second, but I think they'll still get what they're looking for out of a sequel for it anyway.
Is there
Temper
sword combat?
expectations.
No.
Oh.
Do you see a lot more? Do you see a lot more reindeers though?
Well, I mean, like
You
in
do
the,
see a lot more
in the
reindeers.
trailer, there's like that teaser cliffhanger shot where like the camera's like sneaking up on Anna and she turns around with the sword and like slashes at it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's probably like an extra scene, but it's not used in this movie.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. It is a cool
I
shot,
want
though.
sword combat.
Yeah. So sorry if anyone was looking forward to sword combat.
No more
it's not
spoilers
here.
on this one.
Really?
Yeah, you're spoiling it. I just want to
Wow.
be totally like excited about it.
Welcome to my
Haven't
side.
you noticed that I've not asked you anything?
You did
How
ask
did
me
it
one.
end?
You did ask
Right.
me one thing.
Did Elsa find love?
I was just
Yeah.
If does Elsa find love? Because I don't really need it. I like her without.
No, and
I like her being this like queen
Forever
that doesn't
alone.
need a man.
yeah, and that storyline still goes through.
She doesn't
she's-
need one. Maybe she wants one.
Well, and then when she decides she wants one, then
Maybe
that's
she's lonely.
Fine. But I think there's like expectation in
Oh, definitely.
these
Totally.
movies that like, oh, she's missing something if she doesn't have a.
Well, that was like the whole like subtext of the first one,
Yeah.
and so they're not gonna pull a
rehash
180 on that.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I really
do. It
enjoyed
does
that.
make me wonder, and obviously don't answer this because spoilers. But I am curious to see where else they take the dynamic of Elsa and Anna, and Elsa specifically, because it seemed like there was such good closure in the first one. It's sort of like, where do you go from there?
Yeah, no spoilers.
Okay.
We'll talk about it on Monday.
It's like they
After we all see it.
they rekindled their sisterly love. Elsa learned to own and love her powers. So now it's like, okay, what?
I think obviously
What's
now
left?
Elsa needs to own and love her kingdom and protect it with her amazing powers.
That's probably true.
The sisterly love and bond is still there, but they do explore
Is there
their
another
individuality to a degree.
like? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like, I love you, sister, but we're really different.
Kind of, not quite as the way you're framing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean it in a sarcastic way, but
No, I
No
figured
more
as much.
speculation.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
No,
I'm sure
I
I'll
mean, if
find
you're
out.
looking forward to the first Frozen anyway, you'll very much enjoy the second one, and
Do we get-
it'll play very well, obviously.
Do we get more of the sauna guy?
But
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
which guy?
the sauna
guy-
guy.
Yeah,
Oh, Sauna. Oh, I did
Yeah.
not know what you were
They're
saying. he
the
shows
gay
up.
dude
He
and his
pops around.
Family.
Oh, good. Yeah. with
What's
the
his
family.
name?
I can't remember his name. That's why
That was such an adorable little scene.
I want to call him Gunter, but I think that was from Sing. I think that
Oh,
was the pig.
from
The
the
fun
same
pig.
movie. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to add on other than that. So
Yay, good. I like him.
yeah,
Cool. Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
it'll be a pretty good time, especially
Yay.
for the little ones.
Counting
Yeah,
down
for sure.
the mere hours till I get to have
Wait, when's your showtime?
3:45.
Nice.
But we're gonna have drinks and stuff beforehand. Yes, I'm just so excited.
I think you're
This-
just excited for the drinks.
That too. Yeah. yeah. Afternoon drinking and movie watching is really fun.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's
It's a perk
pastime
of being
mine.
an adult. It
It's
makes
a pastime of mine.
makes going to the movies a little bit more fun.
I have to be careful though, because I'll be
tired?
fine. No, I'll be fine. But if I have even just a little bit, I will pee during the movie. I will. I peed twice during Joker, and I feel like I missed a pretty important scene.
That's why you have hard feelings against Joker.
That one scene probably was the key to putting it all together.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what
Elevating
scene you
the
would have
quality.
missed. But
I missed a scene. Something happened on a subway.
oh, in the first half of the movie.
No, it wasn't where like the two Trump boys.
Oh, it was the
Attack him.
second subway. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
it
know
was
what
the
you're talking
second
about.
subway scene.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens on subways. Yeah,
New
I know what you're
York.
talking about now.
Cool.
I haven't seen Joker, so I have no idea.
I mean, it's still here if you want to go at 10 p.m.
And I might. But
You
I probably
could.
won't like it.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay, well, let's go on to our next topic.
Frozen. Okay.
The
then-
question of
Yeah.
whether or not total number of trailer views correlates to box office performance.
So Hollywood Reporter had this kind of interesting topic about if there was a correlation between the number of trailer views and, box office success. And if, there's a lot of people in the industry looking for that number or that data point.
Yeah, that
or-
next indicator.
Yeah, trying to find an indicator in the social media realm, because social media has been really hard to pinpoint any correlation to box office
Well,
success.
because, I mean, something that you have been noticing, just because this is more in your field, It seems like the past few years, the traditional method, like the tracking number, like
Right.
that, can often be hit or miss.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, it's become not very indicative of success. Before, it was, I think, the best thing we had. Like if you saw tracking numbers go up or movement or hit certain point numbers, you could have this really like good feeling that it was, that it was going to be successful, that you just had more confidence in the film. But now, and I think like what really rattled the industry was when Dr. Sleep did so poorly, because
I looked at the tracking of that, and
it was going
decently
up,
high.
it hit pretty good numbers, but it didn't translate to anything. And I've always kind of said that I felt like in the last couple of years, because tracking monitors awareness, and I wonder if there's just so much more awareness but not interest to go.
Yeah, it's the information age. Everybody knows a little bit about everything.
Right. So it's skewing the numbers, and I don't know if they can like account for that. Like, I don't know how much you can account for that of awareness but not interest. There's just really not a way to put that. And I think that's why social media doesn't work, because social media is all those numbers, trailer views, like likes on Facebook. That's just all about awareness of something.
Yeah. No, like Frozen 2, its Facebook page probably has like, I don't know, X million followers.
Right, likes.
But even with other movies that, probably Dr. Sleep probably had a lot of followers or a lot of likes, but a lot of that just comes down to you're kind of scrolling through, and then you see that, and just instinctively you're like, tap.
I like this. Click.
And then you keep
just
scrolling,
don't
and
think
you've
about
already forgotten about it
Yep.
before you're even half of the page
I
away.
think also too, and this is what, because we have looked at in Silver Screen Insider about mining social media information and data points and stuff. But what we were finding was, like for film franchises, they build up and use the same social media pages as previous entries. So you really don't know like how many likes were due to the new entry and how many likes were just there from the previous entries. And so we look at like a growth per day, but that is so skewed depending upon how much like advertising they're pumping into their pages at that time. So like growth per day could just balloon really quick if they pumped money into advertising. So it just,
I mean, we've even seen that
Yeah.
on our end with like a couple of our like social media posts. It
Right.
doesn't take much to all of a sudden inflate it.
no, and I think that's what the advertising industry as a whole is facing too, is that, these targeting ads getting to your actual customers is difficult, and you might have a lot of numbers, but does that translate into dollars?
Yeah.
Do numbers on likes and follows translate to dollars? And I think that there's this hope that it does. I mean, if you are liked by 100 million people out there, hopefully you will be successful at the box office.
Yeah.
But we were just looking at the number. So the Hollywood Reporter article concentrated on YouTube trailer likes.
Yeah.
And they did some statistical analysis, and there is a slight correlation. Obviously, if you have 100 million YouTube views, you're probably going to be successful at the box office.
Yeah.
There's always outliers. There's some that have millions of views and then did like nothing at the box office. And then there's some that have a few, and then did a lot. And I think when I was looking at their examples in their article, I saw that I kind of felt that part of the ones that didn't get a lot of likes but did very well at the box office were definitely targeted to an older demographic that aren't looking at YouTube for trailers.
Right.
And so the success of a film, films still touch every quadrant of society. And so the films that work for older people aren't going to have a social media presence. And then the ones that work for younger kids may have a lot of views, but unless parents are willing to take kids, it's just, so there's just so much more that goes into it.
Well, there's another thing that I started thinking about is sometimes there'll be that one trailer every once in a while that becomes more of like a meme, a sort of thing that like the newest Sonic trailer, when that came out with the redesigned Sonic and everyone's like, oh my God, it's so much better. And it started making its rounds around the internet.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people checked that out just because there was such a huge I don't know,
Right.
scene about it.
But Sonic's not coming out tomorrow. It's not going to capture
I don't
what
think-
all of this buzz is about.
I mean, it's way too early to tell, but I don't think that the movie's performance will necessarily correlate with its surge in popularity.
There won't be a
No.
shift.
because of this new trailer.
no, there's just so many other
People are
things
watching
that
this
go
trailer
into it.
because they want to be able to join the conversation about the
Right.
new design versus the old one. They're not
Yeah.
watching the trailer to see if it's a movie they want to go see.
Exactly. And I think that, there's so many other things, like I said, that go into the success of a film. It's timing, it's proximity to competitors, and just generally what's going on in society at that point. So I think Dr. Sleep suffered a little because Joker, I think it was still going strong. And it was
super strong.
And if you're deciding between two R-rated titles that were skewed a little darker, the one that was getting the social narrative at the time was Joker. And
This is the one to see.
and
Yeah.
you can't account for that. And no YouTube trailer views amount is going to account for things like that. And there's amazingly, there's still this intangible thing that, we can't grasp, but that has tremendous effects on box office success.
I don't know what the indicator that, like, the holy grail that these studios are looking for. I don't know what it would look like.
I don't know either.
Like, how do you track and estimate these sorts of things when everything is just so in flux and there's just no rhyme or reason to this stuff?
No, it kind of makes you like, I don't know. I kind of think about how Martin Scorsese's biggest argument against like Marvel films was the analytics of movie making, of the committee style, getting certain demographics, certain
Just the artifice of it all.
Yeah, and I feel like tracking is somehow a part of that, but like if you can't quantify all the intangible things around it, then there's still an air of mystery about it. So I feel like that still lends the door open to, if you have a good story to tell with an original voice and something that people like want to hear, then it'll do really well. You don't need to add numbers to storytelling. You need to add creativity. It's still a business of creativity.
Even then, though, I mean, the thing that I keep coming back to is just how it almost seems like it's becoming more and more the case where people will choose either or between like playing their new video game or going to this movie, just because. And you see all the time with like streamers or people that follow streamers or just these communities, a lot of people who spend a lot of time playing video games, like they play video games because they like video games. It's probably their favorite pastime, their favorite entertainment. So unless you get a movie that also kind of lines up with some of the similarities that people who play video games have, a lot of people who play video games are a little nerdier.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense that people who play video games are going to go see these
nerdier
movies, Marvel and Star Wars. But anything that doesn't really have that commonality, they may be like, oh yeah, I heard that's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
But they're never going to go see it because, they're just going to...
Their time's devoted to something else. And we're definitely seeing that. And I think Martin Scorsese, we've talked about it, misses the point of that there is now competition for your entertainment time and dollars.
Yeah, totally.
More so than there has ever been in the past.
And especially with how long video games can be, how big of time sinks they can
Yeah,
be.
I'm like 200 plus hours into Assassin's Creed, and I'm not done with the extras yet.
And then there were tons of games that are mainly multiplayer games. There's technically no end to them.
No.
It's like...
You could have a bazillion Fortnite battles every single night.
Yeah.
And just talk to your friends, and the only difference is what you talk about with your friends.
Yeah.
Or maybe you get a cool new weapon. I don't know.
It's hard
I don't
for
play
movies.
Fortnite.
It's hard for movies to compete with that.
Yeah. No, it's just a lot of extra bang for your buck, I think, with that. But I think the industry will keep looking. I think Rotten Tomatoes, while it's not indicative of future success beforehand, I think it's indicative of success in the long term. I definitely have markets that if it has a poor Rotten Tomato score, poor critic score, it does no business no matter how good the storytelling is. I hate that too. But
it's frustrating.
It's a marker for people to be able to say, is this movie worth the value of my dollar? And that's all that they're checking.
I know. It rubs me the wrong way. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But I mean, what is the alternative? Because there are a lot of people out there who and you can't really blame them. They would love to go to the movie, but they want to go to see a good movie.
Yeah.
But if
They don't wanna be
other than
disappointed.
looking at like a Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic score, what are they gonna do? They probably don't care enough to read like a handful of like 1,000+ word movie reviews and then kind of critically think about like maybe I could get behind this.
Maybe this movie will speak to me.
Yeah,
I think
it's mostly like I want to go to the movie. What's supposed to be what's good?
What
What's
can
good
I turn
that's
my
out
brain
there?
off at? I think people just
Excuse me.
anymore, they don't want to, one, they don't want to be disappointed, and two, they feel like they shouldn't pay for feeling emotion, like opposing emotions. Like I really
Yeah.
feel like people are so adverse to that. Like if they don't like it, somehow they need their money back and they
Yeah.
need all
Oh,
this
yeah.
stuff. And
It's totally like entitled.
yeah, it's a very entitled feeling. And I think that that's why you're seeing the scores, because people are hedging against that.
Well, a thing that I hate this. Like if you're out in public or I'm like getting a haircut or you're in a situation where you're making small talk with somebody for whatever reason, they're like, so what do you do?
Right.
I'm like, oh, I read and write about movies. I'm like, oh, okay, so tell me, what should I go see? What's good that's out?
I know.
I'm like, oh my God.
You're
Yeah.
like, I don't personally,
You know
I
what?
don't know
I'm
you
not
or
even going
your
to try and
interests.
answer this because
Yeah.
Many times.
I don't know
yeah.
what you like. Probably not going to like what I say.
Yeah.
But
It's
that
funny.
it seems like that doesn't occur to them. It seems like with these certain types of people, I don't want to generalize, they really do think it's that simple.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so what's good? What should I go see?
Right.
It's like, do you really think it's that simple? Like what?
It's so
Yeah.
personal. Like, what kind of movies do you like? Like, I'm always so vocal about the things I don't like in a movie, and
Yeah.
I steer clear of those movies, 'cause
Which is totally fine.
yeah. But and every once in a while, I feel like sometimes I can break past some of that stuff and see a movie that like maybe stays with me and kind of hurts me a little bit, but overall it was really good. And I do try to expand my horizons that way as much as I can.
Yeah.
But I just know that there's certain types I just don't like, but I totally support the ones I do like. And then I create fun events, and then we have frozen sweater days around them.
And I mean, to be fair, when it comes to safe, reliable, you can pretty much guarantee that you're gonna like it versus take this risk. You may totally hate it, but it may challenge you and you may end up finding out a new thing that you never knew you liked.
Challenge?
They'll probably be more comfortable watching the risky one if they can
Right.
just stream it at home instead
Yeah.
of spending $15-20
Yeah.
to
They
go
can
to
turn-
the theater to
they
see
can
It's a
it.
turn off
money
automatically.
issue at this point.
It's like, yeah, if they're like with a friend who likes different movies than them, they're like, you got to check this out. They're
Right.
like, really? It's like, just trust me. They don't lose anything except their time.
Yeah.
But if somebody who had only seen Fast and the Furious movies, like their friend drugged them to like the Lighthouse or something, and they had never seen anything like that before, and they didn't like it, they would probably be a little
yeah.
like bitter, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That
there's
movie
a
felt
whole-
like forever. I spent all this money.
And there's a whole bunch of reasons why the cost of going to the movie has gone up. And, it's not
And
just
people
all
are
the
never
theater
going to
thought.
look into that.
No.
In their mind, it's not worth it.
This theater's making so much money.
Movies are ripping me off.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
conversation grinds my gears. I've had that where they're
Oh, I know.
like, don't you hate how much you have to spend at the movie theater? And I'm like, yeah, but they kind of need it.
What movies cost? Just
Yeah,
you know what it costs.
why are concessions
I hate,
so
I hate how
expensive?
people. I feel like dads and grandpas do this all the time. It's like you know what the movies cost. You
Right.
know what the drive-through costs. Why do you have to act surprised that it's like, whoa, this is pretty expensive, huh?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you've probably
It's
been to a
still
movie
$11 a ticket. I thought it'd go down by
I
now.
hate that stuff. I get so uncomfortable.
But part of that is like they're feeling they're not getting the experience for the money.
Yeah,
and
I
that,
know, but
that
you don't have
part's
to
a
make
little on
everybody else
theaters.
aware of that.
Yeah.
Just keep that to yourself.
Just keep that to yourself.
I don't care that you feel like you're being ripped off.
So we'll keep looking for, I think trailer views as a whole are pretty indicative. Like you don't want a Frozen to not have 100 million views. No. Or anything. Like I think that it's still sort of a valuable tool, but it's not the end all. It's never going to replace traditional tracking. And I think that, being in this industry, we got to look at a myriad of different data points. It's never going to be one number anymore.
I have a feeling that even things that you would think have no connection to it do play into whether or not people are good. Like if you were to send out a survey and you could have a question like, do you play video games? What kinds of video games do you play? When do you typically play? That kind of stuff I feel like would have would be a big help in determining that.
Or the national conversation. You know, movies are made years in advance. And so I think maybe what hurt Charlie's Angels was a little bit of this backlash against this Me Too feminist movement that's going on.
That's still going.
And it's just people are trying to figure out wade the waters, I think, still on how they want to see that represented. And maybe the Charlie's Angels movie and the way they were marketing it wasn't the correct way. Like, that was not the message they wanted. Like, go see girl power at work, you know, whatever Elizabeth Banks was saying was the movie, you know.
Yeah.
And how women need to support it because you're not going to get female, like, action movies anymore if you don't support this film. I mean, there was just a lot of, I think, missteps in that marketing.
Yeah.
But when you're greenlighting a film like this and you're bringing on a director and stuff like 2 or 3 years in the past, you can't foresee market forces like that happening, or what the
environment
is
totally different in just 3 years. It's crazy. That's a good point.
And those are, I think, why professionals in my industry are good to have that person that's thinking about that stuff all the time, because sometimes theater owners, they've got labor, they've got building, they've got concession, they've got lots of things to think about. They're not thinking about what's the national narrative and should I play this movie.
You can't underestimate that.
So I think we'll keep looking for indicators, but it'll just be something more and more complicated, I think, as time goes on. Yeah, but
a carrot on a stick.
I'm glad you brought up the video game interest, because that industry is just gaining so much in popularity. And
I mean, it has been. It has not slowed down, and people are still not realizing it.
No,
it's crazy. I don't know what it's gonna have to do before people realize, oh, this is just a thing that people do. It's not like a niche thing for basement dwellers.
No, I think it's hard and why people dismiss is because there's not one singular video gaming event that everybody has the same, can participate in at the same time, have the same reaction
to kind of know what's going on in that industry.
Sports or
the Oscars, the Grammys, the Super Bowl, what's the baseball thing?
It's not even just World awards,
Series.
but it was just the idea that when Star Wars comes out and it makes $400 million, you can tell that many people had a ticket, and that, it didn't matter what community you lived in. Video games are just so personalized and individualized. Yeah, there's team esports now, but you still really are at home playing it probably by yourself. That was mama time by myself, being Cassandra. But what we're seeing is, I think, why this industry is gaining in popularity so much is just that it's really based on this excellent storytelling. That I played Assassin's Creed for 200 hours because I was going through this journey with this character, and it was so in depth, and there were so many decisions. It's an interactive journey, but it was all good, and the dialogue was great, and I wanted to.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it's done right, and I'm not in any way trying to rank art mediums, anything like that, but music you listen to, movies you watch and you listen to, so there's that extra level. And video games, you're watching and you're listening, but you're also actively participating and making the decisions. So it activates that other, an additional immersive part of your brain, I guess.
But I think that only works if the story is good.
Yeah, and that's why I said when they're good, because there's so many bad games.
There's so many bad ones. But what I think we're seeing is writers transitioning that maybe the talent that would normally go into movies or TV or this other storytelling formats are now transitioning to movies or to video games. Yeah. And because of that, they're pulling theatrical talent, art talent, actors to their side as well. And I think you're going to start seeing this idea that actors are acting in video games.
Yeah. Oh, they totally are.
Yeah.
And especially the past couple of years. It took off, in my opinion, because I've been closely involved in the video game community for pretty much my entire life. So I've seen kind of this trajectories, and when it really started like catching the attention of people who don't play games is when they would get actual actors to do just the voice acting.
Yeah.
Like before they had all the mocap technology and everything.
Right.
Before that, video games had such bad voice acting sometimes. They're like, get to the fortress. They're breaking in. But then different games started getting like legitimate, like Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean.
Or
it's
the
like, whoa,
character,
this adds a total layer of credibility to this.
Right. They were getting the actors that play the characters that you're now playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was step 1. And then step 2 is now they're getting actors to play characters that are not in movies. So now they're playing these wholly new realized characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think is where video games are going to take a bigger leap forward in storytelling, and where they're going to draw even more from theaters, from movies.
It's crazy. I'm just imagining the time where somebody is just talking to a friend or something, and like who such and such is. Like wait, do I? They were in, and instead of saying a movie, they're going to say a video game that they were in. Like the new game Death Stranding that came out a little bit ago. Mm-hmm. It's a whole other can of worms, but the game has a lot of high profile like actors in it. Like it has Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead and Mads Mikkelsen. It has Guillermo del Toro's in it, and that one French actress Léa Seydoux. I don't know how you say her name, but they also look like themselves. They're not just voice acting a original character. It's like their star power is in the game,
and then you get to control them. It's just
weird.
Yeah,
interact with them, and it's like. It's just, it hasn't been done before.
No.
Movies can't do that.
No.
And that's why when a game really displays all of the things that are unique to games, then it's like,
and I think that's why gaming stories haven't translated, because of the amount of depth and interaction. Your story slightly changes with the way you play the game, especially in role-playing games. And like the Cassandra that I play in Assassin's Creed is probably not the same Cassandra somebody else plays, or when somebody plays Alexios or whatever, what the decisions they make, like they can be more bad, or I make her be really good, but I really like stealing things. So there's a conflict there.
Oh yeah.
And I don't mind murdering
because
guards.
The thing that's going on is the whole time you're playing the game, yes, it's unfolding on screen, but unlike a movie where you're just what you see is what you get. When you're playing a game, there's a whole meta narrative going on in your head while you're doing it.
Yep.
And
that's why it can't translate. Like I really think why Assassin's Creed the movie didn't work, because Assassin's Creed to the people that played it was all different depending upon your experience.
Well, it probably doesn't help that the people who made the movie, I guarantee you, never played the games.
No,
there's no
they
way.
had no idea. But that's a whole nother.
How hard could it be?
There hasn't really been a film that has worked that was purely a video game story.
It just can't.
Detective Pikachu, guys.
No, Detective Pikachu is a movie through and through.
It's
not a video. And that's why I'm like, why are people still trying to do that? They're video games because they have to be a video game.
I'll be interested to see what Netflix does with Witcher, because that, like I said, that Geralt is so different to everybody, and I don't think that the version of the Geralt that they're going to have in that is the version I'm going to like.
I think they're just going to play it really
season 2.
Yeah.
Before
I think
season
they're
1
just going to play it
out.
really safe. It'll probably be pretty similar to The Mandalorian when I think about it, because The Mandalorian, very simple. It's like the simplest a show can possibly be. It's pretty much a video game series in the fact that the main guy doesn't really talk. He doesn't have a face. He's just a cool looking body of armor that walks around and does things.
Have you seen his face yet?
No. Maybe in episode 3. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Super
Heard
excited.
great things
Oh, I bet.
about episode 3.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But there's no way the Witcher series is going to be able to. I mean, you just can't do that in movies. You can't implement player choice. You can't implement like branching narratives.
No.
And I mean, I guess you could say that like that Black Mirror movie, Choose Your Own Adventure, kind of tried to do that,
or what something.
Yeah,
called
Bandersnatch,
like that.
but it's like
it
just kind of gimmicky.
It doesn't work in a movie.
It doesn't.
Formula.
Because people,
because you're
just conditioned when you're
group.
watching a movie, you're going to sit there, and the first time it happened, it's like, oh wait, that's right, it's interactive. I had to like reach for the remote, but
I think it's also a group activity, and you can't have choice in a group activity. You've just got the group as a whole has to be taken through the narrative. And that's what makes movies different than video games, is that you do movies as a group and video games you do individually. So there'll be some overlap, but it's just interesting to see like Keanu Reeves transition to video games.
That game, the game Cyberpunk 2077, it's from the same makers of The Witcher, of The Witcher 3, so it's already a highly, highly anticipated game.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. It has been for years. And then Keanu Reeves comes out at E3, and he's instantly becomes the face of it. And it's like, first of all, he's already just at the peak of like everybody loving him this year.
Right.
It's like the year of Keanu Reeves. He can do no wrong. But he comes out and then he's in the game and it's not weird at all. It's like even more awesome.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God, this game just got even better.
You know how we've talked previously about IP, intellectual property, and brands being the new thing, that people go see the brand and not the actors? I feel like this is a renaissance for actors. In
Just
a
being
sense.
in games?
Yeah, because you're going to want to see this actor play a part in a game. It might be an avenue to bring back, because like you said, they become the face of the game then.
I mean, he's the face in the greater narrative right now. But like I said, the game has been being hyped up for like almost 5 years now.
I would argue that what you're saying, Cody, is that that's the same thing for television. Like a lot of movie stars are going to television because like it's more branded to like who they are and what character they're playing. That they're kind of like the big names more than like a branded movie would be.
Yeah, like I didn't really care about Cyberpunk because it's not really my kind of game, but I was actually interested in it because Keanu Reeves. Like I was like, maybe I'll give this game a shot because
that's a huge deal. And then that can be the perfect maybe this is kind of a harsh word, but like almost it destigmatizes it when people see faces they recognize in video games and it looks like the people, it doesn't look like video game graphics, then all of a sudden they're like, wow, there have been so many times when I was younger, even before games looked nearly as good as they do now, I'll be playing like a narrative game or an RPG or something, and like my dad will walk through the room and be like, this looks like a movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know, graphics are better now.
I know, Dad. Jeez.
It's not like what it used to be for you, old man.
Boomer.
Just stigmatize him.
But,
okay, boomer.
oh my God.
Well, speaking of Keanu Reeves, we should maybe transition to our next topic. But let's just keep in mind, video games are going to be even more competitive, not only taking writing talent, but now acting talent away from.
Yeah.
Watch
from
your backs.
movies.
It's just so fascinating to me because still you think about the medium, and if you consider the true start of video games, because obviously there's, people playing games on like military radars and stuff, which are, I guess, games. But you think about like the first Nintendo, it's like what, 86?
Yeah.
They're like they're still a very young medium.
Yeah.
But the increase in technology is just so exponential that.
Well, and I don't think it's a young medium, but I think it was helped because of the things learned in movies.
Oh, absolutely.
How they learned to tell a visual story.
No, you have to be able to tell a good
100 years
cinematic story before you can expect to tell a good video game story in the traditional sense. There are always cool, more experimental indie games that somehow tell a narrative purely through gameplay, and those are really fascinating to see.
Right.
But for the most part, when we're talking about like big AAA games,
it's still a visual storytelling, and that was purely created through movies through the last 100 years almost. And so they've got that rich history to build off of.
Yeah.
But Keanu Reeves dipping his toes into video games and
a whole lot of others.
But he got to start in movies. And there's a new Dracula movie coming out, and that isn't really big news because it's about Dracula's minion. But what I
directed by Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah, so it should be
Rocket Man. So
it should be good. And we're excited about that. But I thought that the real news here is that both you guys have not seen Bram Stoker's Dracula.
And
that blew my mind.
I haven't. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Gary Oldman, Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder.
Yeah, the cast sounds great.
Apparently,
I love all
Anthony
of those
Hopkins
people.
also in it.
Yeah.
I just looked that up.
Well, geez.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I was little, vampires like scared me a lot.
Yeah.
And I never had a thing for like the classic monster movies. Like Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man, The Mummy, Werewolf. Old man.
My Frankenstein will always be Young Frankenstein.
As
That's
it
such a
should
great
be.
movie. That's such a great
It's
movie.
a classic.
So good.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen Nosferatu, like I said, which is kind of
What's
the
your
original.
excuse, Kyle?
But
What's your excuse?
Kyle doesn't like scary movies.
Yeah, never appealed my interest growing up. Just missed
Zoomer.
it. Zoomer.
Yeah, that's a thing.
You millennials.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Are
I don't
we?
know what to tell you.
Are we?
We're like in the middle.
I have this conversation
We're
with
like
a lot
in the
of
middle
different
of
people.
the Gen Z and millennials, I think.
Depending on where you look. Either we're like the youngest millennials or like the oldest Gen Z.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I understand it both ways. So, but yeah, no, I just missed it and never got around to watching it. So,
You missed it when it came out in like
The 90s.
91.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't get around to it.
I
Sorry.
30 years later. Almost.
Yeah. Don't know. Not really much of a
So old.
explanation.
There's no such thing as old.
I
You're
feel-
either always old or never old.
I feel like that wasn't that long ago that the movie came out. Like, yeah, that's totally
Yeah,
from.
you were hyping it up for us.
Well, I mean,
earlier.
we were
like,
talking
it
about-
just came out.
We were talking about all of these end of the decade lists with
Yeah.
like movies and stuff. It's like, where were you in 2010?
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's
You
what
guys-
happens.
Guys were
And Keanu Reeves
babies.
still looks amazing.
I was all hyped over Inception and Toy Story 3. And then I woke
Which are
up
still
and
great.
went back to high school.
I was graduating college.
she
That's what I was
said. She
doing.
said timidly.
It's like a 6-7 year senior. I did other things. I'm not dumb. I just took
I swear
my time.
I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. I got 2 degrees in there. I was just building it up. I was like, I'm never leaving this place. This is amazing.
College is so much fun, guys.
College was fun. I loved college.
I feel like I didn't get the classic college experience.
Well, I didn't live in the dorms,
Me
so I
either.
didn't party. I did get a dorm experience in my
No?
study
I thought you
abroad,
did. Oh.
but
I visited my friend who lived in the dorms a lot
Yeah.
sophomore year. But freshman year, me and my 3 other friends got one of the like freshman apartment things.
Oh, that's right. You told me.
yeah,
that.
right on the outside of campus.
Those are people are unaware that's just different living situation than
Yeah.
dorm life.
But I always feel like maybe I should have gotten that dorm experience.
I'm gonna tell my boys my one piece of advice is, as much as you hate people, just do it because you meet so many
Oh, yeah.
people and it's
Yeah.
really hard and kind of isolating when you don't meet that many people because
Mhm.
it's not like you're gonna be in class and be like, hey buddy, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
start chatting. No, you're there. Well, they should be there to do work and listen to the professor and then leave to their next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, they should be doing that.
I did see a lot of movies in college though, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Increased my library,
Mm-hmm.
my knowledge.
Not of
But-
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, that one
though.
was on the list, but I
Yeah, I
just
didn't
feel
make
like
it that
that's
far
a-
down.
I feel like that's a classic that if
Yeah,
you're going to see a Dracula
sure.
movie, see the original and then see that one because that one is talked about quite a bit.
yeah.
It changed I feel like it changed the depiction of Dracula a lot.
Is
I've
that
heard
the
good
one
things.
where Gary Oldman is like, he just looks so weird.
Yeah.
He's like red and has the weird
Yes.
heart-shaped white hair
Yeah,
and like
until he gets
I
reawakened.
thought that was a
when-
dream I had
when
once.
when his reincarnation of his love comes back into his life and then he turns young again and tries to woo her.
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be with Keanu Reeves' character, so he has to keep him isolated in the castle with
I guess
the
Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder did have
demons.
like an on-screen kind of
chemistry.
theme running,
Mhm.
and there's a kind of a talk about they're in a new movie or they were in a movie, and it's like they're reunited.
Yep.
I can see them
why.
having great chemistry.
I think they look
I had the biggest
similar.
crush on Winona Ryder for so long.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they look
I still do,
similar.
but-
So that's why people that look alike kind of, I think, make good couples. It's weird, but it's appealing.
Nice.
Usually you marry somebody that kind of looks like you. Like my husband and I think we look very similar. It's kind of weird, but
just
Hopefully you're
just
not
roll
like
with it. It's
we're
fine.
just blonde.
hopefully you're not like distant siblings or something.
No.
Cousins.
Not even close. Not even close.
No, that's good.
We do hail from
That's
different states.
That's very good.
Different. We even hail from different European parts. My ancestors came from Norway and Scotland. His came from Germany. So We're good.
Those Vikings made their way around. They
I don't think they made their way too far.
got with
into
a
the-
lot of people.
I don't think they made their way too far in the interior.
Just saying, you can never be too sure.
No.
You might want to check.
Just saying. Just saying. Blood test. Just to be sure.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much all of our
Yeah.
stories. So I guess, what are our big new releases? We got Frozen 2, obviously.
Frozen Friday. It's happening.
And then we also have A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which
Mhm.
I'm going to try and see, which
Oh,
looks beautiful.
I really want to see that this weekend.
Mr. Rogers,
I really want a good cry.
yeah, well, you'll
I-
probably get it.
I will probably cry so hard in that movie.
I mean, I cried during the documentary, so I hope I can cry in the movie.
Yeah.
But it always happened. This always happens. There's like a documentary, and then like less than a year later, they get the Hollywood
movie
dramatized
treatment.
version.
I feel like they're hopefully. My hope is that they do a good job because they got Tom
I
Hanks.
think
in it.
so. And the one who did it, I forget her name, Nicole something. She directed "Can You Ever Forgive Me" last year, which is another biopic,
Yeah.
but was one of the big points of praise was that it wasn't like that generic
Mm-hmm.
biopic. It didn't have a lot of the tropes. So hopefully she can continue that on this one.
Marielle Heller.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of this. I think I'm thinking of the screenwriter whose name was Nicole. Yeah, Marielle Heller, that's her name. And then the other one is 21 Bridges,
Yes.
which I don't even know what to think about anymore because
I was excited for it when it was coming out during the summer.
yeah, I
Right.
feel like it's been pushed
But now
around
that
a
it
lot.
pushed back so many times, I'm over it.
Right.
Sorry, guys. You
Chadwick Boseman
push back a
looks
movie
good,
too many
though.
times.
Like,
Do you see that they used the word Avenger in its tagline?
well, of
Nuh-uh.
course they.
Yeah, it was like when the crime rates rise, he's the only Avenger that can stop
oh my
it.
gosh.
Well, you guys remember that movie, The
Terrible.
Hustle?
I know.
You guys
Yeah.
remember the movie The Hustle, and they had like a TV spot that was like
Oh, with the
almost the same
evaporating
thing as like the
Endgame stuff?
evaporating trailer in
Yep.
Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird. I hope that doesn't become a thing.
Well, with all these Marvel actors, you think one of these series has to be like, throw in a Black Panther reference, throw in a Cap reference.
That'll get all of the Marvel fans to come see this movie.
Well, this weekend you guys have an early screening of Knives Out because
Yes.
Knives Out
Oh,
actually
yeah.
comes out next Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Mhm. Oh man,
So you guys gonna check that out? This
I'm
weekend?
gonna try as
tonight,
hard as I can
yeah.
to see it tonight. Because if I can't see it tonight, I cannot see it tomorrow night. So
Because you're already
Fingers
going
crossed.
to Beautiful Day, right?
yes.
Yeah, I'm
Double
going.
feature.
I'm going to it tonight, and then probably Beautiful Day tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've been really excited for this weekend because Terminator: Dark Fate burnt me out a lot more than I thought it did, and I'm like, I'm just ready for.
And Frozen
Something
didn't
else.
heal all those wounds.
It was a good start. But
Mr.
now I'm
Roger
ready-
will heal you.
Now I'm
Yeah.
ready for Knives Out to like give me all sorts of amped, and then have Beautiful Day be a nice closer, and that makes me cry poetically.
I love crying.
I like being moved by visual storytelling. Like
Yeah.
it's just amazing how it can move you and make you feel.
I
that's
thought
why I
that was
gotta be-
manipulation.
It is when it's like bad things. I don't like that or cheap. I don't like evil stuff. And I don't even know how to describe it, but I don't want my heart to break.
Evil.
I want it to be filled.
I want my
it
heart to be shattered
moved.
and then pieced back together simultaneously.
but I don't want it to be
I
like,
want a good movie.
I want it to be broken. Mm-mm.
Or be shattered and left on the ground
Yeah.
for a long time, and
Yeah.
then at the very end somehow
No.
give me a hint that it'll
Just
be
takes me
rebuilt
to-
in time.
It just takes me to
It'll-
such a dark place.
It's gonna take too long. We don't have enough time in this 2-hour
I
movie,
think
but just know.
I gotta keep that like revenge thing in me down. Like I feel like I get these like
You have to like
feelings of-
lash out and destroy all the
darkness and-
bad stuff
yeah.
in the movie to keep the world
in,
safe
like,
for your
a
boys.
very mean, like horrible, like no conscious sort of way.
That's crazy.
Swing
Just turns
the
like a
pendulum
rabid
way.
feral,
Yeah,
just like demon.
yeah. So I just keep that at bay and just put nice Frozen things. Like
Jeez. I'm just imagining Frozen just keeping just this raging monster
Well, you know
back here
how
all the
every-
time. Like,
you know how everybody has fight
keep
or
it
flight
in a cage.
instincts.
yeah.
I don't think I have very much flight.
Yeah, I think I have fight in the rare situations where I'll like I don't
Lash
know.
out?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've done that. I like kick people. Like really
I've
hard.
kicked a man once.
It wasn't a man.
I think
a
it's not so
pregnant
much that
woman.
I've
Oh my
actually
God. I
done anything. It's just that those, like, I have such a temper that stuff just would, like, come out. So I just don't even put myself in those situations.
It's just a movie.
I know. I know. That's why it's not worth it. It's just a movie. But that's okay. Frozen's not going to take me there. And so I'm just going to enjoy it with my little boys. We're going to have popcorn and M&Ms.
Or so she thinks. I didn't tell her everything about the movie.
Not yet. Don't disappoint me,
Oh
Kyle.
man, when she
If
gets
there's
that one
something
part,
that I need to know.
if she gets to that one part,
No, you'll be fine.
she's not gonna be happy on Monday.
No. I won't be happy on Facebook later this evening. Like I was when they killed Han Solo in Star Wars.
Did you like make a post about that?
I wanted to, but I had it was my 30th birthday and I was going and Ken had set up a surprise party, so I was like cried and I had to go to the surprise party and I'm like, I don't want to go to my parents' house because I was so devastated Han Solo died.
Why?
I was so devastated. I don't know why. I just even can't still watch that scene. And
Is it
then,
just do you just not like it when good characters die in movies?
I don't.
Like even if it's beautiful?
That wasn't a beautiful death.
No, it wasn't.
It
But
felt
like,
tragic and
Eric,
horrible.
no, I agree.
Yeah. No, I do. I don't. I like the altruistic sacrifice, the hero sacrifice. I'm fine with that. Like this to save the sacrifice to save everybody. I like beautiful deaths like that, or like the old man death at the end where he feels peace
I love
and stuff.
old man deaths.
Oh, where they
And old woman deaths.
right,
Old people
well,
deaths.
the old people deaths where they find
Peaceful.
their purpose. Yeah.
Peaceful, like death is an old friend.
Right.
Let's
I
go.
love that.
It's my
Like,
time.
I'm not against death, but that was just the
Jesus,
son
you
killing the
guys.
father.
That's a beautiful beat when that happens in a movie. If it's earned, it's like,
Oh, it
Go.
is really.
go. You've earned
If you, the best thing is if you've seen it in real life, like
Like Gladiator. Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a good death.
that is a good death.
And she's like stroking his face. She's like, go to them. I'm like, oh my God, I can't handle this. First time I saw that, I was like bawling.
And I felt some,
Movies, man.
and then
It's powerful.
the Emperor
life.
death in that movie where he just I
Oh,
just love
Joaquin.
it. Yeah,
Good old Joaquin just pathetically bleeding all over the
I
sand.
take a lot of I like bad guy deaths a lot. And
Like,
the more torturous,
drawn out.
yeah, the better. I get a lot of satisfaction
Yeah, that's not
from
surprising.
that.
No, I always had that thing when I was little and I would see movies with like bullies, like in Christmas Story where the kid just like starts wailing on that one
Yeah,
kid.
and he cries.
I always wanted scenes like that to be so much worse.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that kid is garbage.
Like strangle him with your
Like,
minutes.
don't try to kill him,
Get him
but if
close.
he ends up dying, it's like, you know what?
Jesus,
Probably
you
deserved
guys.
it.
He was a butthole.
Yeah,
He was a butthole.
I do like that a lot.
Maybe I have like an uncomfortable amount of like revenge fantasy
Yeah.
in me.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
why you
feel
gotta keep it at bay.
I don't feel comfortable in the same room as you guys.
Oh. All right. Well, on that note,
Yeah,
I guess-
let me get out of here
Revenge
before I
bombshell.
get killed.
I can't wait to go take the voice of Frozen. I'm going. I'm
This is
going,
like
guys.
a really
I'm
bipolar, like just back and forth, like Frozen, revenge, murder.
Yeah,
Torture.
I lost
Frozen.
track middle of the way through of what we're even
I have
talking
a lot
about.
of emotions in me. I'm a complex human. We all are.
Mm-hmm.
Those make for the best stories in movies.
Yeah.
Take us away.
Take
Yes.
us away, Kyle.
So, Off the Break podcast. Thank you for listening to another episode of it. We're on all platforms that host podcasts except for Spotify. We're still working on that once again.
Quit bringing it up, Kyle.
They have to know, Cody.
Most. Can you find us on most
When I
Remind
podcast
me.
services?
Find time.
Remind me to do that next week. I'll try and remember
Gosh.
to say most podcasts.
Yes.
But
Maybe over
anyway,
Thanksgiving I'll have time to figure it out.
hopefully. But anyway, we're on the majority
Yeah.
of them anyway. But we're also on our website, Silver Screen Insider, where if you're a theater owner or manager, you can use all of our tools and resources in order to get your theater to be as successful as possible.
Yep. All right. Go check out the trailers.
Awesome.
Check out the likes. Make
Go see
notes.
Frozen.
Frozen 2.
Yeah. Yes,
Bye.
you should.
Enthusiasm, Kyle.